Hello and welcome to Indonesia's Independence Day, worldwide 77th Indonesia Independence celebrations, now on TVRI World. And for the next 3 hours ahead, we will be with you to update you with more stories and also updates and some great things from our diplomats and also diaspora. With me, Stephanie Silitonga.
And I'm Rahmat Idris. Stephanie, this is our first time duetting on the stage. What a delight. Thank you very much for being here with me. And as Stephanie said before, we'll be with you for the next few hours, and we'll be delivering some of the great stories and inspiring spirit of independence from all over the globe here on the special program of the 77th Independence Day on TVRI World. And we'll be running through the whole day today, and we are hosting the second part of the special program today on the heels of the excellent hosting done by our colleagues Uli Herdinansyah and Siska Becker for the hoisting ceremony, right, Stephanie?
It was a very, very great morning, started by Siska Baker and also Uli, right? With the flag hoisting ceremony as well, right? In the presidential palace, with the very, very exciting moments as well, right, Rahman?
There's a lot of spirit there, and particularly, Stephanie, for our international viewers up there, this might have been the first time they get a glimpse of how it is, how the ceremony is, particularly the morning flag hoisting ceremony at the presidential palace of Jakarta, particularly with all of the high school students comprising of 17, 8 and 45 in such great manners and after vigorous training and then performing just excellently this morning.
So what do we have today, Rahmat?
Right, as Stephanie said before, we are going to take you across the globe. We're going to be visiting embassies, and later on the second half, we're going to be talking to some of our Indonesian citizens residing all over the globe. But we begin by visiting the beautiful country, or rather states from the UAE, which is our Indonesian embassy in Abu Dhabi. We are delighted to be joined by the ambassador of Indonesia to Abu Dhabi, His Excellency Husin Bagis, joining us live from Abu Dhabi. A very good afternoon to you from Jakarta, Your Excellency. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, everything's okay, fine, healthy.
Right. Your Excellency, we are aware that Abu Dhabi is 3 hours prior to Western Indonesia time. So it's still a very early morning for you there in Abu Dhabi. So how is it today with the 77th Indonesian Independence Day celebrations in Abu Dhabi? What can you tell us, Your Excellency?
Okay, Alhamdulillah, the commemoration of the 77th Indonesia Independence Day by the Indonesian Embassy in Abu Dhabi was carried out by holding various activities. We have at least 10 competitions and 5 activities besides the flag hosting ceremony this morning in our embassy. The competition like we have done, for example, like badminton, children competition, table tennis, chess, karaoke, domino, fishing, bowling, and then shooting, gun shooting, and then we will have also golf. This is what we have done during last month until this month, Alhamdulillah. And also we will have what we call it a webinar, Building Nationalism Towards Golden Indonesia 2045. And then we'll have also Indonesian film activities, or we call it Indonesian Film Week, Indonesia Spice the World promotion, and then we will have also what we call it, panggung gembira, or for the musical show entertainment for all Indonesian people in Abu Dhabi on 27 August this month, inshallah.
Right.
And then one thing that I have to inform you, this evening you will find more than maybe 15 iconic building in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, including Burj Khalifa. You will find Indonesian flag this evening, inshallah. So everywhere you can find red and white this evening in Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
So if we compared with last year, if we remembered last year on the 76th Independence Day, there were landmarks in UAE displayed red and white colors of Indonesian flags. So we would like to also know with a series of activities done in UAE, in Abu Dhabi, how is the excitement of Indonesian citizens, Indonesians people there?
Of course, the Indonesian people in Emirat Arab express their happiness with the various activities carried out by Indonesian Embassy in Abu Dhabi. And then, of course, they join also many competition and activities carried out by our embassy. And then we also serve as media for gathering, building togetherness, and in particular, as a homesickness remedy.
Right. Your Excellency, Ambassador, would like to know, this is such a special day for Indonesians, particularly for those who are migrant workers from Indonesia in Abu Dhabi. Are they given some sort of a day off or an extra time to celebrate the Independence Day so they can attend more activities and more events either at the embassy or at other spots in around Abu Dhabi?
Alhamdulillah, they can do it like this, and then inshallah on 27 August, they will come. Many people, from the citizen in Emirat Arab, Indonesian citizen, will come to Abu Dhabi for attending or watching the Indonesian musical entertainment, inshallah.
All right, it's such a delight to hear all the spirits and all the activities, and particularly to see the visuals next to you, ambassadors. We thank you so very much for your time all the way from Abu Dhabi, joining us for this conversation and the special dialogue on TVRI World. Thank you very much. Shukran, Your Excellency. Stephanie?
Yes, so next we will go with live by Zoom with our Ambassador of Republic Indonesia for Australia in TVRI Canberra,
yeah.
Siswo Pramono, here connecting with us via Zoom.
Right. This is yet another country with which we have such close relations, and already on the screen they're joining us. His Excellency Siswo Pramono, Your Excellency, thank you very much for your time joining us this morning or afternoon here, rather, in Jakarta. How are you, Your Excellency?
Very good heat, winter time.
So we convey,
and happy anniversary with Indonesian Independence. That's why I'm wearing red and white today.
So that's the spirit of independence with the red and white, the vest, and also the shirts. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. So talking about the spirit of independence, Your Excellency, and also Stephanie, how is the spirit of our Indonesian people in the capital, in Canberra, where you are residing at the moment, to celebrate our Independence Day?
Oh yes, very warm and very high, even though it's winter time. This morning we just finished flag hosting ceremony. 3-degree freezing, but we have 200 people attending. But most interesting is that 25% of them are actually the Australian students. So we have also Australian joining our ceremony today. It's very interesting among the young people. You know that Canberra is just like Yogyakarta, the city of the students. There are many students attending, and there's a lot of exchange among them on the history of the past and how Australia also helping Indonesian independence. If you are aware on the Black Armada, this year, that's when the Australian worker refused to support or to do logistics for the Dutch vessel heading toward Jakarta or Indonesia during the War of Independence. And of course, we have also many sports competition for the whole Indonesian community. We have football, futsal, badminton, stuff like this. Yeah. But most interesting today is actually after we finish with the flag hosting ceremony, we have another ceremony, which is also very important. And this is the handover handing over of 333 ceramics, our artifacts from Australia to Indonesia, and it was handed over by the Minister of Culture and Art of Australia, Minister Anthony Bird. So the story is that in Bangka and Belitung, there was a shipwreck called the Taching shipwreck from 1820 something, so a long time ago, and illegally taken and sold all over the world. And part in Australia was actually recovered by the Australian police. And this morning, as part of our celebration of independence, all this artifact is handed over to Indonesia again. It's very cool story.
Right. And playing there on the screen, Your Excellency, we see the very traditional cracker eating competitions. I can't believe they also have that in Australia.
Oh yes, in here, you know, that trade between Indonesia and Australia has been improving very well. The total trade now is almost close to 9 billion US dollars. So even though we have pandemics, we have lockdown in Australia, total trade increased by 80%, and some of them also Indonesian food and beverage, because we have a very competitive products on food and beverage. And that's why you can see the Indonesian crackers. Even in here, every morning, I still have the tolak angin from Indonesia, and it's very effective for against the winter time in Australia. So yes, in this part of the celebration, we have cracker competition for kids, eating cracker competition. This is very interesting. It's very funny too.
Yeah, it's heartwarming to see, Ambassador, how some of our distinguished local wisdoms are carried over to our neighboring countries. Stephanie, you have something to ask to Excellency.
Mr. Siswa, it's always interesting to know the relationship between Australia and also Indonesia, as we are also close neighbors as countries. We would also like to know, besides the excitement of Indonesians live there in Australia, in Canberra, is there any also excitement from also Australians with this Independence Day in Canberra?
Yeah. You mentioned that 25% of the 200 people attending the flag hoisting are Australian. Were they invited or voluntarily attending?
Oh yes, they request. They put requests on us, like there are Australian students from senior high school, from high school that learn Bahasa Indonesia. Then please give us opportunity to be part of your celebration, because we learn Bahasa Indonesia. So I think this is a good chance for us to invite them to come, not only to learn Bahasa, but also to experience the glory that we have on the 17th of August. There's also a good exchange of cultures, and they're also part of the audience that see how this artifacts has been handed over by Australia back to Indonesia from the shipwreck and etc. I think this is a very good exchange among the youth. And not only about the past, because they are the young people. We are building bridge for the future as well between Indonesia and Australia. So they are voluntarily comes, and we welcome them. And we enjoy Indonesian food, Indonesian cultures, and celebrate things together.
Right. As a matter of fact, Mr. Ambassador, Australian Foreign Minister Madam Penny Wong just a while ago showcased her ability and expertise in speaking Bahasa Indonesia during her visit here in the countries. That's a show of its own on the closeness between the two countries. We truly appreciate your time for us here for the special program of Independence Day.
We have ministers speak Bahasa. We also have parliament members in Australia also speak Bahasa. So it's a good cultural ties between the two.
All right. It's been a delight, Mr. Ambassador. We truly appreciate your time. I'm afraid this is all the time that we have. But thank you. Thank you very much for joining us all the way from Canberra, the Ambassador of Indonesia to Australia.
And also happy
Siswa Pramono. Merdeka! So what do we have next, Stephanie?
So next, we will be having, So we will be having also Zoom live with also the our diplomats in Beijing. We would like to hear also stories from Beijing, how the celebrations there with Indonesia 77th Independence Day today.
I believe there's going to be great stories there, all the way from the People's Republic of China with our embassy located in Beijing. Joining us very, very soon here on the screen is the ambassador of Indonesia to the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Jauhari Orat Mangun. Hopefully, oh yeah, already on the screen. A very good afternoon from Jakarta to Your Excellency Jauhari. Mr. Ambassador, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. Greetings from Beijing. Good afternoon from Beijing as well. We are celebrating our Independence Day now, 77th anniversary.
Sure. That's thank you.
Oh, that's thank you, yes. So, Mr. Ambassador, we would like to know the celebration there. Is there any special event, or if there's any special occasions or celebrations there by our Indonesians there?
Yes, indeed. We just finished the, it's not celebration, but the fresh racing only a few minutes ago. Attended this for the first time after 2 years after COVID. Now we invited all of the Indonesians and the diaspora as well to come and celebrate with us. We already finished the flag raising, and now we are having a celebration among us at the Indonesian house here in Beijing. But before the event, we organized a lot of things. We cycling 77 kilometers around Beijing last week.
77.
Yeah.
We enjoy every part of it. You can see at the television now. So yes, participated by more than 100 Indonesians who are here in Beijing, and of course from the embassy.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, I cannot tell you how much I'm missing Beijing at the moment, particularly when you just mentioned that the cycling was 77 kilometers. That's a lot of sights to see, a lot of sceneries. You mentioned a little bit there, Mr. Ambassador, about the COVID-19 pandemic and how it eased in Beijing. But we know that in some parts of China, outbreaks have also been happening. What's the current condition exactly in China in relation to the COVID-19?
I think it's getting much more better and better, but due to the zero tolerance COVID policy here, so if you have a new cases in some area, and then they will have a very tight policy. Such is what is happening in Hainan now, in the province of Hainan in particular, the city of Sanya. But here in Beijing and in other cities in China, it's already almost returned to normal. We celebrate here in Beijing at our Consulate General in Shanghai, in Guangzhou, as well as in Hong Kong. And this is for the first time as well. We invited all of the Indonesian citizens who are living in Tiongkok or in China to be at our embassy and at our consulate generals as well to celebrate with us.
Wow, must be very, very interesting, exciting celebrations there. We would like to know, like, how many Indonesians actually live there, since we see like the celebrations and also the excitement is very big there.
Yes, indeed. And then of course we are organizing as well the Indonesian Food Festival, in particular here in Beijing, at one of the hotel and one of the fine dining restaurant here. So people in Beijing, or Beijingers we call them, can enjoy as well the Indonesian culinary, as well as at the Consulate General in Guangzhou, in Hong Kong, and in Shanghai. They as well organize various activities to get the feeling that we are now celebrating our 77th Independence Day. As to Indonesians, we used to have more than 20,000 Indonesians. Most of them are students, but almost all of them returned to Indonesia due to the COVID-19. Now we are trying to bring them back. And then so far, more than 2,000 or around 3,000 Indonesians who are living here in China. And some of them are celebrating with us here in Beijing, in Guangzhou, in Hong Kong, and in Shanghai.
They must be delighted to enjoy some of our most distinctive Indonesian cuisine at the festival, Mr. Ambassador. We would also like to get your... what did we serve actually at the festival?
Yeah, we would like to know the special taste of Indonesia. So what has been served there?
Mr. Ambassador, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right. So next I would like to know, Mr. Ambassador, because this year's Indonesia is assuming the duty of the G20 presidency, and just a while ago, President Joko Widodo had a personal visit to the President of China, Xi Jinping. There's a lot on the table for the conversation there. What can you tell us more about the relations, the current state of bilateral relations between the two nations?
I think our relations between Indonesia and China, it's getting stronger and stronger. And in particular, after the visit of the president, in which he had a bilateral meeting with President Xi Jinping, as well as First Lady. Both First Lady met as well. So from what I witnessed during the meeting, this is a very cordial meeting. And if I can put it in the numbers, the relationship, it's getting better in which, for example, our trade relation already surpassed 100 billion US dollar. China now number 2 investor to Indonesia. Number 3 is Hong Kong. And then, of course, in the third pillar of the cooperation, people-to-people, socio-culture, it's getting better as well. Even yesterday, we participated at the Beijing Film Festival here, and then of course we are going to introduce Indonesian film as well to Chinese audience. So a lot of things already happened, and we do that with the participate of the Indonesian here, of the Chinese who love Indonesia. We can increase further relationship between Indonesia and China. And you are absolutely right, our relation being cemented during the visit of President Joko Widodo and First Lady Iriana.
Right.
We know that we also agreed to increase our infrastructure also with the Republic of China, and we also are excited to hear also about the first trains, right? For the nations, the express, the fast trains also from Indonesia, from China, from
speed
the
train cooperations between the two countries. There's a lot of technological sharing between Indonesia and China too, Mr. Ambassador.
Yes, indeed. If you look at the 5 priorities that being presented by President during his speech at the DPR, at the Parliament, of course, those priority relates as well to the relationship between Indonesia and China. So hopefully, with the stronger relationship between India, we can contribute as well to the 5 priorities of the Indonesia's that being presented by President Joko Widodo yesterday. And now all of us here at the embassy, we are celebrating wearing the national dress. So I'm wearing now the dress, the traditional dress, Tenun Ikat Tanimbar from the Tanimbar Island, a province of Maluku.
That is an absolutely gorgeous piece of clothing, Mr. Ambassador, the Tenun that you just mentioned. I'd like to get a little bit more information for you, Mr. Ambassador. You mentioned a little bit about celebrations also taking place at our Consulate Generals in Guangzhou, in Shanghai. Have you received news from those Consulate Generals on how it is, the celebration for our 77th Independence Day in those cities?
Yes, we received the news, and then of course they called me, the Consulate General called me that the celebration is going on now, but we took a break for a while, for like 1 hour, to follow as well the celebration at the Istana Merdeka in Jakarta, led by President Joko Widodo. And now we continue with acara hiburan from us or among us, with some of the Indonesian dancing, some of the Indonesian songs, and of course, one of the important thing is enjoy the cuisine of Indonesia. A lot of nasi goreng, sate, bakwan, etc. So everybody in Guangzhou in Shanghai, and of course in Beijing, waiting for lunchtime now.
All right, so that actually answers our questions earlier, where we thought that you couldn't hear us because we were asking about what sort of menus were served at the culinary festival. We thank you so very much, our ambassador of Indonesia to the People's Republic of China, His Excellency Jawahari Oratmangun, for your wonderful, wonderful and inspiring stories from Beijing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much. Lovely to be here. Merdeka, merdeka, merdeka.
All right.
From Beijing.
Merdeka.
Thank you. Xie xie, Merdeka.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Man, I was just so happy to hear him telling all these stories, Stephanie.
From around the world, oh, I'm so excited. I feel like I'm
Yeah.
also feeling that I'm also there,
Exactly.
experiencing it all
And
with the Indonesians there.
Yeah, and looking at all those visuals playing back just right next to him, it brings us closer to the sides of the city where he was telling the story from, and particularly infecting us all with how Indonesian peoples, wherever they are, particularly when they are outside of Indonesia, the sense of nationalisms is actually stronger. I'm sure we both have had the experience of being away from the country and feeling like meeting another Indonesian outside of Indonesia is a joy of its own.
Indeed, actually, because we can still see the spirits they carry for the celebrations of Indonesia as well.
Right.
So next, Rahmat, we also have some greetings from around the world, since we already also have discussed or had a dialogue also with some diplomats around the world, and now we also have greetings from our diplomats also from the other parts of the world.
This is actually an expression, Stephanie, and also our viewers out there, an expressions of foreign diplomats residing and currently on duty here in Indonesia, mainly in Jakarta. Their joy and also their gratitude to Indonesia and to the Indonesian people on the 77th celebrations and anniversary of our Independence Day. And these are some of the ambassadors here expressing their greetings and joy. Let's take a look.
On the occasion of the 77th of the Indonesian Independence Day, and on behalf of the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Warsaw, I would like to extend my warm wishes and congratulations to all citizens of Indonesia all over the world, as well as listeners and viewers of Televisi Republik Indonesia. Let us recover together, recover stronger.
Selamat Hari Kemerdekaan Indonesia. Saudara-saudari yang saya hormati, independence is inalienable right of all nations. Independence means opportunities to choose and act freely, to build your country, also together with foreign friends. Independence means understanding of common values and goals. Ukrainian people are now fighting for this choice, rights, freedom, life. They're fighting for survival. Indonesians remember the price of their own independence. On this Independence Day of Indonesia, let us remember and honor our heroes who defended our future, defended our tanah air from the enemies. I wish Indonesian nation peace, stability, prosperity. I wish you wisdom, bravery, and strength to remain independent.
Greetings to our Indonesian friends on the occasion of the celebration of its 77 years of independence. The friendship and cooperation between Mexico and Indonesia have continued growing steadily. Both countries are working jointly to face the challenges posed by the pandemic and the geopolitical tensions. In that regard, Mexico strongly supports the Indonesian presidency of the G20 group of nations to recover together and recover stronger. On this special day, Mexico stands with the Indonesian people to celebrate the independence of this great nation. Merdeka!
All right, thank you very much there. That was our representatives of the Indonesian Embassy in Warsaw, Poland, and also following that were the statements from the ambassadors of Ukraine to Indonesia, Vasil Hamyanin, and also the ambassador of Mexico to Indonesia. Thank you very much for those beautiful and kind words and encouraging words in line with Indonesia's 77th Independence Day celebrations. You are here on TVRI World watching a very special program running the whole day today on the 77th Indonesia's Independence Day celebrations, and this is a particular segment where we are talking about worldwide celebrations, and we'll be talking to our embassies from all over the globes and talking to Indonesian people as well. And next up, Stephanie, we are delighted to fly you all over to South Korea to talk to our Ambassador of Indonesia to South Korea, His Excellency Gandhi Sulistianto, who has joined us here for this special program. A very good afternoon to you, Excellency Ambassador. Thank you very much for taking your time for our special program of Independence Day. How are you?
Yes, my pleasure, my pleasure. How are you, everybody?
We are very happy here, sir. We should say from Jakarta, annyeonghaseyo.
Annyeonghaseyo.
Stephanie.
Samida. We would like to know, Mr. Ambassador, the independence of the 77th Indonesia Independence Day in Seoul, particularly if there is any special moment or celebrations by in our Indonesians there.
Well, today we celebrate together with all the staff in Embassy of Seoul, Embassy Republic Indonesia in Seoul, and we are having several activities. And this is the first time, it's before, the first time after the pandemic started in 2019, we did it in the offline. Before, we always did in the online. So, first of all, on behalf of the Indonesian Embassy in Seoul, I, Gandhi Sulistianto, would like to extend our warmest congratulations to the 77th anniversary of Indonesian independence. Dirgahayu Indonesia, Jayalah terus Indonesia, and Merdeka.
All right, Your Excellency, our spirit today for the celebration is recover faster and recover stronger. And you mentioned that in Seoul, this is the first time for an offline ceremony to take place, which is great to hear because we are...
I can't hear. Sorry, I can't hear.
Let me try again.
Disappeared.
Okay, let me try again, Mr. Ambassador.
All right.
Can you hear me now? All right, thank you very much. It's certainly heartwarming when you told us that this is the first offline Independence Day ceremony that took place in South Korea post the COVID-19 pandemic, meaning that we are recovering from this excruciating pandemic in line with our theme of the Indonesian Independence Day, which is recover faster and recover stronger. Can you walk us through the current condition of COVID-19 pandemic and how the Indonesian people have come together to get everyone safer and healthier and stronger indeed?
Yeah. So to be frank with you, in fact, nowadays in Seoul, the positive COVID-19 infected is still quite high, relatively high, because more than 100,000 per day. That's why we are having a ceremony. It's only limited person. We invited only 10 people from out of our internal employees to represent our Indonesian people who live in Seoul, Greater Seoul. So therefore, we don't really invited some others bigger number because of pandemic. It's still existence here in Seoul. And as you know, last 2 weeks, last week maybe, the Seoul have a big disaster with a big flood in Seoul, Greater Seoul.
Yeah.
So we really, empathy with this kind of condition. That's why our celebration just internal big family embassy only.
Yeah, yeah. We heard about the reports on one of the biggest flood that ever hit Seoul in the last 80 years, and the pictures were horrific. But we also took a look at some of the visuals when you were talking about the spirit of Independence Day, Mr. Ambassador. Some of the Indonesian people, they're riding bicycles downtown. Can you tell us more about that activities? Is it some sort of recursion or any other special programs that took place at the embassy?
Yes, it is. It is all the family, big family of Indonesian embassy, including myself. We rode, the bicycle together surrounding the Han River. Han River total distance around 18 kilometers at that time, and we were together surrounding that river and surrounding Seoul. And we are enjoying very much because we also seen some of disaster still there.
Yeah.
A lot of mud and also some water is still in the roads. So we try to empathy with them, and then some of Dharma Pertiwi, Dharma Wanita also doing the same thing, but they are not with a bicycle, but they are walking together. And we meet in one place, and we enjoy to eat together in that place. It's really very good memory for everybody. And we use the uniform with the special design from one of our friends in Seoul.
Oh, that looks very nice, Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah.
And we are missing, I am in particular, I'm missing Han River, I'm missing the chicken ginseng soup. That's so delicious there.
All the very nice
yes,
cuisines,
yeah.
So besides that...
Yeah, we would like to invite you to come to Seoul and enjoy it together with us, to enjoy the samgedam and then galbitang and omuk, so many foods, very delicious here and similar taste with Indonesian foods. So please come.
Hopefully in the near future, right? So the two of us can come there.
So yeah, you mentioned besides running and also walking around the town, we also would like to know is there any most favorite traditional games or sports played by Indonesians there, Mr. Gandhi?
Well, there is no specific thing, it's just common games like joget sapu. I don't know joget sapu in English,
Broom dancing.
And then tebak kata, and then rock, paper, scissors, and some others. Actually, it's just common, Usually we play that game in Indonesia normally on the Independence Day. So we implement it here to, just to participate everybody together.
All right, great stories there. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Ambassador. I'm afraid that's all the time that we have for this particular segment, but we truly appreciate your time here for us on the special program of Independence Day. Joining us from Seoul, South Korea, the Ambassador of Indonesia to South Korea, His Excellency Gandhi Sulistianto. Terima kasih, thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.
Sorry, one thing that I've forgotten to tell you.
Oh, please do.
The special thing that we did together is a fashion show in the middle of road like Citayam fashion show.
That's very interesting.
That's
That is
what we
also
did together,
yeah.
all members, you know. We did it in the middle of the city, in the Seoul city,
So
in front of embassy. Thank you.
that's like Citayam
That's
goes to
very
Seoul.
funny.
Yes.
Very funny.
Thank you
Yeah,
very
Citayam
much.
fashion
Kamsahamnida. Terima
show.
kasih.
You Indo fashion show. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Gandhi. Stay safe. So what's next do we have, Rahmat? So from Seoul, now we fly to
Australia yet again, but to another part of Australia. Prior we spoke to our ambassador in Canberra, but this time we'll be visiting the beautiful city of Melbourne, virtually rather, by talking to our Consulate General of the Republic of Indonesia in Melbourne, our Consul General, Mr. Kuncoro Waseso, already joining us for this conversation. A very good day to you, Mr. Kuncoro. How are you? That looks like a lot of fun there downtown.
How are you?
We are very, very good.
Were you just finishing the flag raising ceremony there? I can see some flags waving in the background. Where are you at the moment?
That's why I'm going to tell you something here.
Please.
This is the second occasion we have the raising flag. The first one is in the Consulate. It was attended by 350 of the Indonesian community and also joined by students of Indonesian military who are studying in Melbourne. Of course, also by students of Australian Defence Force. And then we have also 3 high school of Melbourne also joining. And that amazing one also, we have just finished another occasion of raising flag in the very center of Melbourne. If you see behind my we have flag over there.
Well, yes,
and
we can.
Here are some. See, we have Paskibra still there. Paskibra, the Paskibra is still there, and then some people also still doing the Maumere. Okay, this is the very center of Melbourne, exactly what we call as the Federation Square. We are also joined by the other students of the Melbourne. This is very interesting when you see it here. So talking about the Independence Day, we are glad that everybody is very happy with the things. And hopefully we are going to continue again with another activity later on in the future. And tomorrow or next weekend, we are going also to have another celebration in the other town of Victoria, that was in Geelong, and also, of course, Tasmania. That is what happened here in Melbourne, Rahmat and Stephanie.
That's a lot. That's actually lots of celebrations in Melbourne, Mr. Kuncoro. We are very excited to hear, and particularly myself, actually, Rahmat, and also Mr. Kuncoro. I used to live there, and I kind of like miss Melbourne when I studied there back a few years ago.
Somebody wants to return.
If you were here before, then you are going to see the very famous. Here you see that one. The Flinders stations?
Yes, I miss Flinders Street stations there.
You must miss
that used to be her territory, Mr. Kuncoro.
Taking train every day from
so
Flinders
just come
Street.
down here again, Stephanie. Come down and join us sometime later. And we are going to promote again and again the culture. And of course, everybody is happy. See, if I come close to the what you call the Paskibra members, let them say hello to you. Hello, everybody, to TVRI. Say hello.
Oh, wow. Mr. Kuncoro, we cannot believe what we just saw. You are actually taking us in the middle of the celebration, infusing us with the spirit actually happening there in Melbourne at the moment.
I cannot hear your voice.
Can you hear me now? Let's give it a try again. Mr. Kuncoro, can you hear me now? There's always, can you hear me now, Mr. Kuncoro?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. We'd just like to express our gratitude to you because you are literally taking us in the middle of the celebration, infusing us with the spirit of the Independence Day right there downtown in Melbourne, where you're making my partner here blush and she just wants to go back.
It feels like, Mr. Kuncoro, it feels like we are also, both of us is also there celebrating this independence of Indonesia Independence Day there with you in Melbourne also. We can feel the joy, we can feel the vibes here.
Apparently, we're having, at the moment, some...
Stephanie,
please.
Stephanie, as you experienced before, I mean,
We, 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 we will always want to share our happiness, not only for the Indonesian community, but also for the local people, for the Melbourneian. Yes. So when everybody join here, not only Indonesian, it's also our happiness. The thing is that we are glad after 2 years in the pandemic, and it's supposed to be the longest lockdown in the world. So we are now here having the celebrations together, not only the Indonesians, but also the local people.
So just my last question to you, Mr. Kuncoro, if you can hear me. Prior to our conversations, we talked to our ambassador in Canberra, and she said that there's this real closeness between Australians and Indonesians. Do you feel the same way over in Melbourne, particularly with the spirits of Independence Day today? Because we also see some local people there standing by and just watching our celebrations of Independence Day. How would you describe it to us?
Okay, I'll give one example. The ceremony, the simple ceremony we have here in Federation Square, in front of the train road stations, was also attended by one of our, it's not our, but of one of the local parliamentarians. So it is how we are going to describe how close we are.
Right.
And this morning, even in the consulate, it was also attended by the students of the Defense Force School of Language. They were Australian, and the guys joined us. So this is also already describing how close the relation between Indonesia with Australia, particularly with Victoria and Tasmania.
Oh, wow. Members of the parliament, members of the people's representative present themselves at the celebration. That gives us a clear picture of the closeness and more great things to come in terms of the relations between Indonesia and Australia. And thank you very much to our colleagues, to our friends, to our relatives, and to you, Mr. Consul General of Indonesia in Melbourne, Mr. Kuncoro Waseso.
I want to say thank you to everybody.
Great
so
story.
The ladies here are very happy also. So say hello. And thank you very much, Rahmat and Stephanie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kuncoro
Merdeka.
and everyone.
Bye-bye, Merdeka. Thank you so much, everyone. Beautiful kabayas and national clothing over in Melbourne. Wow, what a great day. Thank you very much indeed. So, let's now fly to Europe now.
Okay, so let's have a look. What do we have in Europe?
Yes.
Since we already flew from Korea,
Asia,
from Seoul,
Australia,
from the Republic of China, and now to Europe.
A bit far now.
Yes.
So let's go all the way to Stockholm to take a look at ways of the Indonesian people over in Stockholm to celebrate our 77th Independence Day. But apparently we're going to hold off for that video, Stephanie, because we are already connected to to our embassy of Indonesia, the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia in Sweden, and we will be speaking to Excellency Ambassador of Indonesia to Sweden, His Excellency Kama Pradipta Isnomo, joining us all the way from Stockholm. A very, I should say, a very early morning, a very good morning to you in Stockholm, Your Excellency Kama Pradipta Isnomo. How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you. And thank you to both of you for having me on the show. It is indeed very early. It's 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning, Stockholm time. In fact, I stood up 5 hours ago to follow the flag hoisting ceremony from the presidential palace. So it's been a long day, but we're all excited here.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for being such an early bird and joining us for the occasion and such a special festivity today for our Independence Day. Much obliged. Stephanie.
Yes, Mr. Kamarudin, thank you for this very, very early morning for you there. So today we would like to hear from you, because it's still early morning, of course, there. So we would like to hear if there is any special event is planned for today's Indonesia's 77th Independence Day in Stockholm.
Thank you. In fact, the flag hoisting ceremony will take place in 2 hours now. because it's still 7 o'clock in the morning. So we're going to have it 2 hours from now, to be exact, at 9 a.m. This morning, Stockholm time or Central European time. The health condition in Sweden is still relatively stable. Having said that, there are still some cases here and there related to COVID-19. With that in mind, we have decided this year to have a limited participants and attendance to attend the flag hoisting ceremony. And specifically for this year, we have invited all our senior citizens, Indonesian citizens who have long lived in Sweden since the 60s, 70s. So you can imagine they're all in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s. They will be attending the flag hoisting ceremony together with us. And I'm sure they would be happy to join us and to commemorate the Independence Day of Indonesia. I'd like just to add another thing that on the 20th of September, which is this Saturday, we will organize what we call the People's Feast or Pesta Rakyat. And this is an event where almost all of our citizens are active. We held this last year. Around 500 people attended last year. I'm pretty sure there will be similar attendance this year. So this event is basically a gathering for all our Indonesian community here. And we will be providing platforms for them to sell Indonesian foods, Indonesian herbs, spices, products. And at the same time, there will be sings, traditional dances, gamelan from Java, and other activities that could make all of our nationals here happy, especially for those who have not had the chance to go back home.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, you mentioned that this is the second time for such an event, such a folks party or the Pesta Rakyat to take place in Stockholm. Looking back on the first ones, how would you describe the response and the warmth of the people in Sweden, the local people towards our offer, towards our culture being put on display for the party?
Well, this is a good question. Indonesia is already quite well known in Sweden, mostly because most Swedes travel to Indonesia for tourism and for their holidays. But however, there is one commodity which is specifically from Indonesia, which they have known and familiar with for generations and generations, which is coffee. So a long time ago, coffee in Sweden used to be called Java. So you still hear nowadays people offer you in restaurant, "Sir, would you like to have a cup of Java?" So Java or coffee in Sweden is deeply rooted in the Swedish culture. It is what they do every morning, every late afternoon, to spend time and drink coffee with friends. It's somewhat similar with the British tradition of high tea, whereas in Stockholm it's coffee, which they call fika. So when it comes to coffee, the highest quality and the highest grade of coffee that are drank by Swedish consumers here are from Sumatra Gayo. So the coffee is very deeply enrooted in the Swedish culture. So when we introduce Indonesia, we always use an opening of introducing them with coffee, but not only from Sumatra Gayo, but also from other regions in Indonesia, such as North Sumatra, West Sumatra, West Java, Central Java, Bali, Toraja, so on and so forth. While doing that, we also introduce them about the local culture in all our provinces in Indonesia, and as well as the clothings, the batiks, and all the designs. So that's the strategy in which we promote Indonesia here in Sweden.
Yeah. Wow. So from there we can also see actually the deep connections, particularly in culture between Sweden also and Indonesia with coffee, because we know that Indonesia and also Mr. Kama Pradipta And Rahmat also like to sip a cup of coffee here, right, in Indonesia.
Well, it's good to know that their morning rituals highly incorporate something distinctive from Indonesia, particularly as you mentioned that one of the so-called high coffee is the Gayonis. That's from Aceh, the Sumatran coffee. So that's this is great for us to hear, Mr. Ambassador. So at the current state of...
I'll just give you an example. Every year when the Swedish government holds the annual gala dinner for the Nobel Prize recipients. Every year they used to host it for all the winners, and during dinner they serve all the food, the cuisine from Sweden. But when it comes to dessert and when it comes to coffee, what they offer is coffee beans from Sumatra Gayo.
All right, that is unbeatable. Just our final question to you, Mr. Ambassador, because our time is pressed now. How would you describe the spirit of the 77th Indonesian Independence Day this year for the Indonesian citizens in Sweden? As you mentioned, some of them are entering their senior citizenship already.
They are very hopeful. They are very aware the difficulties that are being confronted with Indonesia in the midst of pandemic, in the midst of uncertainty. But having said that, this is something that is also confronted by every country, including Sweden and also other countries in Europe. But what strikes them the most is the level of resilience in which the government of Indonesia and the people of Indonesia are collectively confronting these challenges and being able to recover, being able to pick up and take advantage during this time of crisis, making it an opportunity instead of a threat. I think this is one thing that really strikes the most to most Indonesians who are living in Sweden, especially those who are a senior citizen, I would say, here, because they've been here since the 60s and the 70s. The level of resilience that they see and witnessed by the Indonesian people and government is totally something that is of high quality. So that's the spirit, and they also wish that we could keep up the spirit and keep stronger and recover stronger and to work even harder in the future.
Right, that's some great and uplifting words there from our ambassador in Sweden, Stockholm. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Kaman Pradipta is normal for your time and for your inspiring stories all the way from Stockholm. We truly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a good one to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Merdeka.
Merdeka. Wow, that's always, how do we say it? Heartwarming and inspiring to hear all of these stories from around the globe from our Indonesians.
Particularly in these situations after these 2.5 years of pandemic.
It's painful,
it's painful. And now we hear stories, updates from around the world and the celebrations. The Indonesia's Independence Day celebrated very excitingly there overseas. So, Rahmat, I really want to hear more stories from around the world.
Exactly, especially, Stephanie, when they say that most of these countries, this is the first time for them to celebrate in person, getting together after the 2.5 years excruciating pandemic. So, more great things to come, hopefully, after this years as we, in line with our theme, recover faster and recover stronger. And let's now go to one of our most favorite cities in the world, which I haven't visited yet, and that is somewhere in Egypt. Let's go to Cairo. Before we talk to our ambassador there, we have this nice visual that we've put together on the activities of Independence Day celebration in Cairo. Let's take a look.
That was a very interesting moment, I think, in Cairo in Egypt, right, Rahmat? We see the celebrations of Indonesians. Lots of traditional games, sports also played there by the Indonesians. And we would like to hear that now from our ambassador for Republic Indonesia for Egypt, Mr. Lutfi Rauf, who is currently connected with us now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very clear. Thank you, Mr. Lutfi, for joining.
Thank you.
How are you?
Happy Independence
Happy
Day.
Independence Day.
Dirgahayu Republik Indonesia ke-77. Merdeka.
Merdeka. We love the spirit, sir.
Mr. Lutfi, we saw already from the video played before, lots of sports played there for this Indonesia Independence Day. So now we want to hear from you the excitement there for our Independence Day.
This is the day is very important for everybody from Indonesia, especially in overseas, including, of course, in Egypt. This is the day where we have a very strong feeling about our country because this is the way we celebrate our Independence Day. So, of course, a lot of activities they were preparing, of course, including flag raising ceremony will be taking place in the, I think, in the 30-40 minutes to come. But again, it's really a great feeling, being a very proud moment, so being Indonesians, to celebrate these great days of Indonesia, 17th of August.
Right, Mr. Rauf, we see that behind you, there's this writing of Upacara Kemerdekaan ke-77, which means that the flag hoisting ceremony has taken place, or is it in plan?
Not yet.
And when will that be?
Because here only 5 hours behind Jakarta time. So we will have the flag raising ceremonies in 8 a.m. Cairo time.
All right, so we have to thank you for being so early to talk to us this morning for our special program. We truly appreciate it, Mr. Ambassador.
It is an honor. It is an honor for us because this is a great day of Indonesia.
All right. Mr. Lutfi, can you walk us through what is in the agenda of our embassy in Egypt, in Cairo, to celebrate the 77th Independence Day, aside from the planned ceremony this morning?
You know, this year we celebrate a little bit more vibrant, unlike previous years, because of the COVID. Almost we do it in a very small scales, but now the situation is getting better. The infected cases in Egypt is going down significantly, of course, because the rate of the the vaccine is quite high, almost 100 million people out of 104 million Egyptian peoples. So this is create a better opportunity for us to celebrate much bigger scales. So that's why if you're asking me how many activities or what kind of activities we are having here, of course, before other than the flag raising ceremony, of course, we have a competition. We have a traditional games involving kids, and also, of course, number of sports, but limited one. Another one is we would like to have, of course, is our diplomatic receptions we'll be having in a few weeks to come, as well as celebrating in the Egypt-Indonesia 75 years diplomatic relations. Another one that we are very grateful to share the information to you and our friends in Indonesia and all over the world is that we are very lucky also and grateful to have around 12,000 Indonesian students who are studying here in Egypt, and they are very actively participating also in celebrating their independence. Even they are working with the Al-Azhar University also. A few days ago, it's been published by one of the largest media here, Al-Ahram media, also, share the informations about the celebrations. Our student also and Al-Azhar University. This is, I think, another one how no matter what, even we have a lot of limitations, but our students, our people here enthusiastically celebrating their Independence Day. Another one that I would like to inform you that besides we have this flag raising ceremony in Cairo, our people also, students in Alexandria, also have this kind of celebration this morning.
Right, not only in Cairo, but also in Alexandria.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful name for a city. Mr. Ambassador, you mentioned earlier that this year marked 75 years of bilateral relations between Indonesia and Egypt, meaning that our relations have started long before this, like 2 years after Independence Day. How would you describe the current state of bilateral relations between the two countries?
You know, 75 years of bilateral relations, this is in terms of diplomatic relation. But beyond that, even before, centuries ago, our people start to visit Egypt, conduct their study here, even as far as back in the 18th centuries. That's why, you know, during our struggling for independence, Egypt is the first Arabic country who recognized the newly independent republic back in 1945. It is therefore this year we will have a 75 years anniversary, and then the relation between the country very close in terms of the history and the cultures. I mentioned briefly before that this is I think the place where we have 12,000 Indonesian students studying here in Egypt, and of course also the relations between the two countries in many fields encouraging, very strong. One of them, I think, in terms of the relations in terms of economic and trade, quite the importance and how to call it amazing, to be honest, to say this, even during the pandemic, where the economic activities going down, many trade volume is also declining, but in fact, the trade volumes between Indonesia and Egypt during the pandemic, in fact, going up to 56%. Even the first semester of this year, January and June, we recorded also positive growth, about 20% increase. And I think in Middle East and Africa, the trade volumes, Indonesia is in Egypt ranks number 3 after Emirates and Saudi Arabia. But of course, we are very grateful to say that we are in the, how to call it, surplus position. Yeah. So many others, how to call it, fields that we continue to strengthen. One of them, I think, last March, we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs visiting Indonesia, meeting with the foreign ministers, meeting with the ministers of environment, meeting with the minister of finance, and of course, during the visit, both ministers signed MOU on the establishment of joint commissions, where we provide platform to discuss further the opportunities for the two countries to develop in the times to come. Because if we're looking at the potential of the two countries, Indonesia has 270 million, Egypt has 110 million, a huge potential for the two countries to explore further based on our mutual benefit. So I think this is a great moment for us this year, 75 years. We will continue to strengthen and deepen relations between Indonesia and Egypt in every field, by involving not only government institutions, but also stakeholders, civil society. I mean, you mentioned before also about the how to call it, the students. Yeah. It is really a great feeling today to celebrate this great day of Indonesia.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Lutfi Rauf, our ambassadors for Indonesia in Egypt, in Cairo. So we hope that the celebrations of our Independence Day there in Cairo will go very smooth and very well, and the spirits of this Independence Day, the vibrance can always be carried by Indonesians there. Thank you very much, Mr. Lutfi. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Merdeka, Mr. Ambassador.
Once again, let us celebrate this very important day of Indonesia, the countries that we love very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Salam
Ambassador.
hormat dari negeri para nabi.
Send our greetings to all our fellow Indonesians in Egypt. Thank you very much indeed. Wow, that's in the bucket list someday to come over to. All right, we've talked to plenty of ambassadors already, Stephanie, from overseas. It's time to return back to Indonesia and to see more of our foreign ambassadors residing here in the country, expressing their joy and also their congratulatory remarks to Indonesia for its 77th Independence Day celebration. Let's take a look.
Hello, saya Sang Kim, Duta Besar Amerika Serikat untuk Indonesia. On behalf of the American people, I am deeply honored to wish all of our friends in Indonesia a very happy Independence Day. It is our privilege to serve in your amazing country in support of a strong U.S.-Indonesia partnership during Indonesia's historic G20 year. Dirgahayu Republik Indonesia.
Dirgahayu Republik Indonesia.
Dirgahayu Republik Indonesia.
Merdeka!
Dear viewers, TVRI, I'm Kanasugi Kenji, Ambassador of Japan in Indonesia. I would like to send my warmest wishes to the people of Indonesia as you celebrate 77 years of independence on 17th August. We look forward to working together to deepen our economic fight against the pandemic and promote peace and stability throughout the world.
Salam Merdeka, saya Baktasong, Duta Besar Republik Korea untuk Indonesia. Saya mengucapkan selamat kepada rakyat Indonesia yang memperingati Hari Kemerdekaan yang ke-77. Saya berharap KTT G20 yang akan diadakan di Bali pada November tahun ini bisa berlangsung dengan sukses. Semoga Korea dan Indonesia akan lebih memperkuat kemitraan strategis khusus dan terjalin persahabatan yang erat bagaikan bersaudara untuk kesejahteraan bersama. Dirgahayu kemerdekaan Indonesia. Terima kasih.
Namaste, salam sejahtera. Saya Manoj Kumar Bharti, Duta Besar India untuk Indonesia. Pada kesempatan Hari Kemerdekaan Indonesia yang ke-77 ini, saya menyampaikan salam dan harapan hangat saya kepada rakyat Indonesia. Sebagai sahabat dan tetangga maritim, India dan Indonesia telah saling mendukung selama pandemi dan kami berharap pemulihan yang lebih cepat dan lebih kuat dari pandemi di waktu mendatang. Sebagai Presiden Forum G20 berikutnya, India memberikan dukungan penuh kepada presidensi G20 Indonesia dengan tema Recover Together, Recover Stronger. Kami menghargai hubungan bilateral dan multilateral yang telah terjalin sejak lama dan akan berusaha untuk meningkatkan kemitraan ke tingkat tertinggi sepanjang masa dengan dukungan dan kerjasama yang konsisten. Dirgahayu Indonesia.
All right, there you have it, Stephanie. Some warm words and greetings from foreign ambassadors here in Indonesia. I would like to express our thank you and gratitudes to ambassadors of the USA. Was speaking there, and also from the United States, from Japan, from South Korea, and just last day you heard greetings from our ambassadors of India to Indonesia. Those are some of the most heartwarming and also uplifting words you hear from, as you said, countries and neighboring countries that have been long partners in bilateral relations with Indonesia.
Yeah, such an also encouraging words also, especially with still this situation, right?
Exactly.
And then we are same like the theme of our independence of Indonesia, recover together and recover stronger. And Rahmat,
that's rather the G20, I think.
Oh, that's, yeah.
For our independence, recover faster,
and
but still together, recover together.
Yeah, it's almost...
they're very similar,
yes,
so I guess inspired by the presidency as well.
So, since we already talked with our ambassadors also in overseas, and we also hear some greetings, very uplifting, like you said, uplifting words from other ambassadors also. I would also like to know how you're feeling up until now, Rahmat, with this Independence Day. Perhaps you could tell a little bit of story about what you miss the most from the Independence Day from your childhood.
From my childhood, oh, that goes way back. let me recollect my memories from the child, probably from the traditional clothing, because that's always a major part of celebrating Independence Day. Me, born in Aceh, but since my junior high, I've been blessed to be all around the country and the globe as well. But the things that we miss most is the richness of our culture, which is always symbolized within the celebrations of our Independence Day.
Very interesting. So now we go to Manila.
That's also a city I'm missing. We'd like to say hi to our ambassador of Indonesia to the Philippines. Joining us live now via Zoom application, His Excellency Agus Wijoyo. A very good day to you, Your Excellency, Mr. Agus, Mr. Ambassador. How are you today?
It's been a busy day on Independence Day. We start from our local ceremony here in the embassy, and it is still now in progress with the entertainment and lunch function.
Right. And before you continue on, I'd like to say here from Jakarta, Salamat po. Thank you very much for taking your time to be with us for the special programs of Independence Day. Mr. Ambassador Agus Wijoyo, you mentioned that you've just finished the ceremony for the Indonesian Independence Day. But what are the programs? We know that a lot of Filipinos share many deep-rooted cultures with our Indonesian people, particularly from the island of Sulawesi. How is the spirit for the celebration for the Independence Day for our nationals in the Philippines?
National Independence Day is centralized in the embassy in Manila. We have also a consulate general in Davao, and I would think that they are also having a commemoration event because there are quite a number of people of Indonesian descent in South of Philippines, in Mindanao, and focusing in Davao. So I think there is also some sorts of commemorative or competition or things to commemorate the Independence Day of Indonesia, the 17th anniversary of the Independence Day.
Right. Mr. Ambassador, is there any other restrictions that that is still imposed for the citizens of the Philippines, particularly at this point in time where we see numbers of COVID-19 pandemics rising with the new variant? What is the current case there in the Philippines?
You mean the COVID-19 variants?
Yes, sir. What is the current situation and how is it affecting the local people, in particular the celebrations of our Independence Day?
For the local people, well, we also invited those people from outside the embassy, which I mean is the those that are included in the diaspora, also students that are attending studies in Manila, in the Philippines, and some professionals. And also we are not forgetting the various Indonesian companies that are doing their businesses in Manila. Although that this is the first time that we organized face-to-face offline celebration, but we still have to adhere very carefully to the health protocols, and that we cannot invite all of those who would really like to attend the commemoration event in KBRI. And for that, we held various competition for all members of the family. I mean, for the children, for the spouses, for the wives, and for the husbands, and for also professionals, and some sports competition like badminton, table tennis, and bowling. That stretches into approximately about 1 week, and there were a high interest also amongst our relatives from outside the embassy, like from diaspora.
Right, and probably a karaoke competition too that I was playing next to you when you were speaking, Your Excellency.
Yeah, when we are speaking about celebrations about this festival, it's not complete, Mr. Agus and also Rahman, if you're not talking about food, cuisine. We would like to know if is there any special food cuisines from Indonesia there in Manila, celebrated in this Independence Day?
Or maybe balut is also on the table for the celebration. Mr. Ambassador, what are the distinctive cuisine for the celebration of Independence Day in the Philippines?
Can you repeat the question, please? I did not get the communication very well. Could you repeat what the question was?
Yeah, please.
Yes, if there is any, we would like to know if there is any special cuisine of Indonesians culinary there in this Independence Day of Indonesia celebrated in Manila.
Yes, the celebration does not end on the 17th of August today. It will proceed. There are going to be some collaborations in exhibitions of Indonesian products. Also, there will be some culinary exhibition also of Indonesian culinary. So it is still an ongoing activities, and will still continue into the next maybe into the next month, 1 month to the future.
Right, it's great to hear that many cooperations on different levels are taking place in the Philippines, particularly in the spirit of the 77th Indonesian Independence celebrations. Right, just our final question to you, Mr. Ambassador. Where do you see the relations between Indonesia and the Philippines moving forward with the spirit of recover faster and recover stronger as the central theme of our Independence Day?
From the Indonesian perspective, I think it can't be better, yeah. It can't be better, and things are moving, progressing. For instance, Indonesian companies have received contracts like the PT Land for the Philippine Railways, also for the defense industries of Indonesia. Some have received contracts also from the Philippine defense not ministry. They don't call it ministry. From the Defense Department.
All right.
So from the Indonesian perspective, things are doing fine, and also some of the other substantive products, and that the challenge is actually how to create a more balanced create a more balanced trade between Indonesia and the Philippines. Because right now the status situation is always a plus on the Indonesian side. So it would be an effort to create a more balanced trade between Indonesia and the Philippines, and some have been exploring into the possibilities of creating local products, local industries, Indonesian industries, but being produced in the Philippines.
All right.
So we are looking forward to that, but right now the situation is positive and conducive, especially for the transportation industries and defense industries.
Right. There's definitely room for improvements in terms of economic cooperations between the two countries, and we are definitely looking forward to that. And that is all the time that we have for these conversations. We'd like to express our thank you and gratitude to the Ambassador of Indonesia to the Philippines, joining us all the way from Manila, His Excellency Agus Wijoyo. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time here on Special Program.
Thank you, Mr. Agus.
Thank you.
All right. And Stephanie, where are we flying to next?
Now, we're moving on from Manila, from Philippines. We're flying off to London.
We're just hopping around the globe
here.
Like, how much have you achieved so far from this very sofa? Wow, London. That must have brought up some personal memories for you.
Right. There's so many interesting stories about the UK, about London. So we would like to, to hear more from London.
Let's say
what
hi.
is happening there today for our
Let's say hi
Independence
to
Day.
our Ambassador of Indonesia to the UK, joining us now live via Zoom application, His Excellency Desra Percaya. A very good morning to you in London, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for joining us this early morning for the program.
Mr. Desra.
Mr. Ambassador, we are unable to hear you yet. Can you turn up your microphone, please? Turn it on.
It is on. Sorry, it is on now.
All right, now we can hear you clearly. Mr. Ambassador, once
Very
again.
Good morning from London. Very good morning from London.
Thank you very much. And we see that you are celebrating the Independence Day in the spirit of our traditional clothing. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, that is a Balinese udang, is it not?
Indeed, and we also encourage the invitees and participants for the ceremony today, because it's 6 hours late here in London, to wear our national costume or batik, and for the ladies, we encourage them to wear kebaya.
It's very interesting. Because it's very still early morning there in London. Is there any special preparations for today's Independence Day of Indonesia? And you started this early morning by wearing traditional clothes of Indonesia.
Indeed, I think this is the happiest moment after 2 years of vacuum, 2 years of hiatus, there is no in-person ceremony, and we are very much looking forward to have it. While we still also continue to observe COVID situation in the UK, which is still relatively high. And apart from COVID, you know very well, Stephanie, the weather in England, in UK, is very unpredictable.
Yeah.
Heat wave was here, but I think we will look at it, and hopefully we'll be able to have the celebration, the upacara today. A bit cloudy, but when I look at the weather forecast, the rain will arrive around 1 p.m. So I think wish us luck.
Right. Yeah, we've heard reports, Your Excellency, on the heat wave and the severe dry season hitting most parts of Europe, including the UK. So we feel very concerned about that. However, we also see some excitement and some glories of our Indonesian people just strolling about in the city downtown and passing over the Westminster Abbey just now, the visuals that we saw. What was that? Can you tell us more about that particular event?
Yes, thank you very much. I think last Saturday on the August 13th, the embassy organized Jalan Sehat event. This is together with hundreds of Indonesians around London. We stroll together, wear red and white apparels from the Waterloo area to the Indonesian embassy in Westminster. Across London icons such as London Eye, Big Ben, Westminster Abbey. It was really fun. A participant wore tari topeng costumes, some carried flags, and some even sang lagu-lagu wajib nasional or national song along the way. And on that Saturday morning, Westminster was colored red and white. And more than that, at the end or at the finish line, we at the embassy organized a bazaar of Indonesian cuisine by diaspora or our SMEs traders.
Yeah.
There were, surprisingly, rendang, nasi remas, kue salju, pempek, and so many things. And at the end of it, we did have a line dance of Pocho Pocho and Gemu Famire, as well as talent show. So many things.
Sounded like a lot of fun. Yeah. We wish we were there. Certainly my partner wishes he was there.
Why not?
Yeah, we know that lots of Indonesians live there in the UK, in London especially, and also lots of students study in the UK as well, particularly in London also. Yeah. So with your story that you shared with us, there will be Indonesian cuisines also served there celebrating this Independence Day. We would also like to know, Mr. Desra, since you are there now in London, what do you miss most from Indonesia Independence Day in Indonesia itself?
I miss a lot, no matter what. The proverb is hujan emas di negeri sendiri, you prefer hujan batu.
We'll try to put that in English, sir.
And to be honest, what I miss the most is like you in Indonesia, in Jakarta or anywhere in Indonesia, you can easily find the food that the most you like, right? I come from Surabaya. I miss very much lontong balap and kupang. I think you don't know, right? I think the kupang is seafood with lontong, those things.
Right.
And family and friends, definitely. But however, I'm very happy because we do have a very good Indonesian community. We are very close. And even last night, we have some Indonesian talent singers who are gathering at Wisma in order to prepare for them to perform, and surprisingly, they are damn good. I mean, they have a very good voice. They have also done diaspora recording music and songs that will be published today, and so many things,
Right. It's certainly pleased to see you know, the activities of paint the city red and white there, the visuals that we see from Jakarta here, Mr. Ambassador. And you also mentioned a little bit there on the exciting bazaar with the, unsurprisingly, the rendang and then the pempek and the pocho-pocho dance, the maomere. We can only imagine the excitements and the festive moments of the celebration there. But my question to you, Mr. Ambassador, did all of this only involve our fellow Indonesians, or were there also some Londoners invited or participating in those events, which signifies the acceptance and the responses in general of the UK, the people in UK towards our culture?
Yeah, I'm very proud to share with you that a number of local people and diaspora local people, the English, they also took part in the event. So I think it's not only about Indonesian gathering, but also the local people. And if I may share as well that apart from the event that has been, that will also be conducted or organized by the embassy, there are also many celebration initiatives organized independently by Indonesian diaspora in various regions in the UK and Ireland throughout August, such as the Indonesian Society Scotland in Glasgow, the Indonesian Society in Wales in Pontyclun, Indonesian community on the Isle of Wight, Indonesian students of Nansen Village, and, which is very important, the Kabaya Parade by Indonesian women in UK. We are very thankful for their participation, and again, it reflects how excited and how happy they are in celebrating our National Independence Day.
Very interesting. Yes, Mr. Desra, and also Rahmat, because
Yeah.
I used to study there, not in London, Mr. Desra, but in Coventry. It's about like almost one and a half hours to London. And I felt the excitement when it was celebrations of Independence Day of Indonesia there. We at university actually also celebrated Independence Day with so many, activities there with the, with the community of Indonesians there as well. So I believe from what Mr. Desra also has shared with us, I believe the excitement, it must be very, very huge there.
It is indeed. We can see with the visuals, there's a lot of happiness going about within our nationals in London. Just my question to you, Mr. Ambassador, how do you see moving forward the relations between Indonesia and the UK? We know that UK is one of the biggest entities to be a part of the G20, in which Indonesia assumes the presidency, and it is estimated that the next Prime Minister, be it Liz Truss or even Mr. Sunak, whoever will be chosen later on by the Parliament, will be attending the summit in November in Bali. So how do you see our presidency and the relations with the UK at this point in time?
Yeah, I think with regard to the presidency G20, the UK government, whoever will be the Prime Minister, they have made their confirmation to attend the G20 summit later on in Indonesia. Going back to your question, I think Indonesia and UK are strategic partners currently. Bilateral relationship is superb, and cooperation in various priority sectors continue to grow. At the highest level, President Joko Widodo and at that time Prime Minister Boris Johnson met on the sidelines of COP26 climate conference in Glasgow, and later they also met on the sidelines of G20 in Germany in June, in which the two heads of the government underlined the importance of increasing Indonesia-UK bilateral relations. And talking about priority areas, there are certainly important cooperation in handling pandemic and health security, post-pandemic economic recovery and green economy, trade and investment, as well as protecting Indonesian citizens. And if I may also add, Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi met with her counterpart Liz Truss in London, in which both foreign ministers welcomed the agreement on the Indonesia-UK Partnership Roadmap 2022-2024, which contains strategic guidelines for bilateral cooperation for the next 2 years. And they met again in Bali on the sidelines of G20 foreign ministers meeting. So I think the room for maneuver, the room to elevate this partnership remains there. And especially we are going to focus more again on priorities such as trade and investment. Now, UK is the issue of Brexit. I think this is really an opportunity for UK and Indonesia to take this opportunity, to seize this opportunity of this momentum to elevate bilateral relations. And again, as you mentioned about G20 and other things, we at the embassy here also plays important and active role with regard to business forum, SMEs, and conducting a number of business matching activities. And if I may mention some of the event, London Coffee Festival, London Book Fair, World Travel Market, and also we will continue to showcase Indonesia's natural, cultural, and economic progress through our social media. And education is very important. As Stephanie mentioned earlier, she studied in Coventry. Yes, there are around 3,000 Indonesian students studying in the UK.
All right. Great things in the horizon.
So thank you very much, Mr. Desra Percaya, our Indonesia's ambassador for the UK. Thank you very much for sharing stories about the Independence Day celebrations there in London.
Please stay safe and send our greetings to all of our fellow Indonesians in London. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you for having me. Merdeka, merdeka, merdeka.
Merdeka, merdeka, merdeka. That's spiritful words there to conclude our conversation with the ambassador of UK, of Indonesia in UK rather. And now let's go to yet another country, Stephanie, which used to be part of our country, but now we are enjoying a bilateral relations. We are heading over to Dili, the capital of Timor-Leste, where we are honored to be joined by the ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Timor-Leste. Joining us now, His Excellency Okto Dorinus Manik. Mr. Okto, thank you very much for joining us in this conversation special program, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning, Mr. Ambassador.
How are you?
Thank you, Pak Rahmat and Bu Stephanie. Nice to see you again, Bapak, Ibu.
It's so great to see you again, Mr. Ambassador. We last met just last month for the visit in Labuan Bajo for the conversation with President Ramos Horta. And now here we are celebrating 77th Indonesian Independence Day. Can you tell us, Mr. Okto, how is the spirit of Independence Day of Indonesia in Dili, Timor-Leste?
Thank you, Pak Rahmat. We just finished the flag raising ceremony at our Indonesian embassy this morning. The participant is more than 300 Indonesian citizens. And of course, there is a big euphoria with Indonesian citizens since the 2 years we don't have any activity 2 years after the pandemic COVID.
Right. Yeah. So it's been 2 years after we are celebrating Independence Day because of COVID situation there. But we would like to know actually how is COVID situation or pandemic situation there? Mr. Okto.
Thank you. The COVID pandemic in Dili is under control here in Timor-Leste. In fact, Timor-Leste had been applauded for the good effort in containing the pandemic. The infection rate is low. The last 7 days average the only 6 new cases each day. Vaccine rate also good. First doses has reached 87% of the population, and the second is 76%. Even in the majority of the people here is in Timor-Leste have already taken off their mask in the public.
Right. Well, it's certainly good to hear that we are starting to see the recovery, the end of the pandemic in Dili, Timor-Leste as well. We wish everyone good health there in Dili. Mr. Ambassador, just now we were looking at some of the visuals of activities, some fun events there in Dili. We saw some people doing some traditional sports there, which we usually see here in Indonesia. Can you tell us about some of the exciting agendas, some of the exciting activities in Dili to commemorate the 77th Indonesian Independence Day?
Yeah, as I said that this year is the first time since the COVID pandemic had been held. The Indonesian Embassy held sport tournament and competition. We also involved with the Indonesian state-owned company here. We have Pertamina, BRI, Mandiri, Telkomsel, and Wika. And also involved with the Indonesian community in Timor-Leste to take part and organize the competition. We have held badminton, volleyball, futsal, and golf, and also a quiz of teka-teki silang and singing contest. Last Saturday, we have Indonesian festival, like Bazaar, Pesta Rakyat in Embassy. It was an open event for Indonesian citizens in Timor-Leste, and we have many traditional competitions to celebrate the Independence Day, like balap karung, and then with the makan kerupuk.
Right.
Euphoria was so big. Yes, as I say, because of 2 years since there's no event like this.
Yeah. Were there mostly all Indonesians, Mr. Ambassador, or do we have also some local people in Dili taking part in the festivities?
Yeah, some of them, not only Indonesia, some of them are Timor-Leste people. Some of them are married with Indonesian, married with the local people. So and the family also joined with the festival and the competition.
All right, that's exciting to hear. Mr. Ambassador, we met a couple of months ago for the celebrations of 20 years of bilateral relations between Indonesia and Timor-Leste in Cuisine, Timor-Leste, and a couple of weeks later with the President Ramos Horta's visit to Indonesia. How do you see with the 77th Indonesia's Independence Day can become a momentum to further strengthen the relations between the two, let's say, its sister countries?
Yes, Pak. The bilateral relation between Indonesia and Timor-Leste is very close and friendly state. Indonesia and Timor-Leste are a global role model for peace and reconciliation. Maybe you already interviewed with Pak President Ramos Horta as well. Economic cooperation are stronger than ever. Even in the pandemic situation, the trade between Indonesia reached $250 million US. The result of the visit for President Ramos Horta, we agree to strengthen trade, connectivity, and development of border area. Indonesia also, through our state-owned company, as I said before, to take part in Timor-Leste development. The two leaders also conclude that a bilateral investment treaty between Indonesia and Timor-Leste. And we have assigned also MOU, bus and coaches, agricultural trade, and meteorology. The other things that Indonesia still also committed to support Timor-Leste to become an ASEAN member. Timor-Leste become ASEAN member.
Right. Okay. Hopefully, the projection is next year. Yes. At this time, this year, Timor-Leste is already included within the membership of the ASEAN. That is all the time that we have for these conversations. We'd like to thank you, Ambassador of Indonesia to Timor-Leste in Dili, His Excellency Okto Dorinus Manik. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time and your great stories.
There is one more thing that we would like to share to you.
Oh, please do.
Yesterday, we visited Taman Makam Pahlawan Seroja Dili to pay respect to our hero who given their life for our Indonesia. Taman Makam Sarojadili is the only one our TMP, Taman Makam Pahlawan overseas.
All right. Wow, so that's a way to appreciate and to remember in memoriam all of our heroes taking part in the past struggles. Again, thank you very much for sharing that with us, Ambassador of Indonesia to Timor-Leste, Mr. Okto Dorinus Manik. Stay safe and stay healthy, sir.
Looking forward to see you in Dili, Pak.
See you soon for the 20 years anniversary of Indonesia Timor-Leste.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. So now from Timor-Leste, we will fly again to the other part of the world.
Yes.
It will be Kazakhstan.
Wow, it sounds so exotic, and we are very pleased to finally be able to be in touch with our embassy in Nur Sultan. And we are honored to be joined for this special program here today for the Independence Day. Our Ambassador of Indonesia to Kazakhstan, His Excellency Muhammad Fajrul Rahman. A very good day to you, Mr. Fajrul. How are you? Thank you very much. Hello. Kabar baik. We are doing fine. How are you, sir?
In Kazakhstan, because the language is Russian, we have to say "Здравствуйте."
Oh, I should say "Привет" just to say hi. And "Spasiba," sir.
Hello, Indonesia.
All right, we are missing you here in the country, sir. So, can you share with us, please?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Can you share with us,
we are
please?
missing you also.
The spirit of. Can you share with us, Mr. Ambassador, the spirit of celebrations of the 77th, such a great number for our Independence Day over in Nur Sultan, please?
Okay, in Nur Sultan, today, this morning, we have an event to celebrate 77 of Indonesia Independence Day. And almost 300 people, Indonesian and Kazakhstani, also come to our event. Because our theme is, for this celebration, the collaboration of Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Indonesia culture. Jadi, that is the collaboration. So our theme, our keyword is the collaboration between Indonesia and Kazakhstan, and also Tajikistan. And we have so many things we have done today, and also 3 weeks ago, about almost the same, bolo tangkis, ping pong, makan kerupuk, and then today is lomba karung,
balap
and then
karung,
karaoke competition. I am one of the members of the juror of this competition.
That's very interesting. If you highlighted about a traditional,
please do come to Kazakhstan.
We would like to.
We would love to visit Kazakhstan and meet you in person someday, Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah, it's very nice. You can find here the temperature minus 30 degrees.
Must be very
Oh my! And what is the current temperature that we are experiencing, Mr. Ambassador?
I miss Indonesia because in Indonesia there is no winter. We have almost a sunny day all the year. But here almost 6 or 7 months winter, and then minus 30 degrees.
Oh man! So we can say that the freezer is. Yeah, so we can say that the freezer is not inside. The freezer is outside.
Indeed.
It is outside. Yes, it is almost the same. But today it is summer. Today it is summer. And summer here is very good. It is here very good. Only 18 to 20 degrees.
All right. So the temperature is friendly enough for us to have the flag hoisting ceremony just outside the embassy, Mr. Ambassador.
Yeah, so we have so many games here. As I said before, it is like an Indonesian badminton, ping pong, lomba karung, tarik tambang, and then lomba karaoke. But also today, we celebrate 55th ASEAN Day celebration of ASEAN Day. So we make it, so we invite 5 ambassador from the ASEAN, and then we also celebrate 77 of Indonesian Independence Day and also 55th of ASEAN Day. And we enjoy all the Indonesia cuisine like sate padang, bakso, meatball, and then also Kazakh grill. It is like the lamb grill in Indonesia.
Right.
So we mix the tradition, the culture of Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Indonesia today.
Right.
Oh, that makes me starving now. Feeling like starving.
That is going to be on our bucket list, Mr. Ambassador. So it's great to hear all this sense of togetherness and a way of solidifying nationalism and involving other nations nearby, the Kazakhstans and Tajikistans, as you mentioned.
And the collaboration as well,
exactly,
mentioned by Mr. Ambassador.
Right. Yes. Because next year, the diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Kazakhstan, 30 years diplomatic relation.
Right. Okay.
Right. Mr. Muhammad, we also would like to know actually from you, since you mentioned these cuisines and also activities there, we would like to know from you, what do you miss most besides the weather you mentioned earlier? So what do you miss most from independence celebrations of Indonesia here in Indonesia?
Panjat Pinang. We have no Pinang here.
Oh man.
Panjat Pinang.
That is always
one. Also the people of Indonesia, I miss all the people of Indonesia. 273 million people of Indonesia, I miss them. And also my boss before, President Joko Widodo.
All right. Well, Mr. Ambassador, we're afraid that is all the time that we have for these conversations. We express our deepest gratitude and thank you so much for taking your time to share with us such spiritful and wonderful stories from Kazakhstan and all the way from Nur Sultan. We'd like to thank you, Ambassador of Indonesia to Kazakhstan, Muhammad Fajrul Rahman. Mr. Fajrul, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Spasiba, balsoye spasiba.
Spasiba, we hope to see you soon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wow. Well, that was quite a journey today, Stephanie. We've been speaking to our representatives, our colleagues, and most importantly, our esteemed diplomats from Asia, from Australia, from Europe, from different parts of the globe. So we've reached out, and one thing that we can conclude is that the sense of nationalism, the spirit of togetherness of Indonesians never dies wherever you are.
Indeed, very strong. Indeed, it's very enlightening as well from what we have discussed or talked with all the ambassadors overseas. Now, Rahmat, with this Independence Day, we still can feel the spirit of Independence Day of Indonesia now. Until now, I'm actually, when speaking to these ambassadors, I sometimes also feel, you know, like thrilled also because because we can feel how they actually truly appreciate what we have become so far.
Right, and that is also the noble purpose of our second segment today for the special program, is that to bring these international experience to all of you, our viewers, wherever you are watching TVRI World, to have a sense of how our fellow Indonesians across the globe are celebrating 77th anniversary of Indonesia's independence, and hopefully infuse us and infect us with the same spirit of nationalisms and love and passions for our country ahead of the big agenda of bringing more prosperity towards the nations. And that also concludes our first half of our segment here for the worldwide celebrations. And to give it all a beautiful cap off, we have a very special presentation to you. What is it, Stephanie?
So we have actually choir songs also about this Independence Day from KBRI Doha.
Right.
Yeah.
From the Embassy of Indonesia in Doha, Qatar. They have prepared a very special performance of 3 Indonesian songs, 1 the national songs and 2 traditional songs of Tanah Airku, Manuk Dadali, Bengawan Solo. We truly appreciate your beautiful efforts and video for this, our fellow Indonesians in Doha, Qatar. Let's enjoy it together.
Enjoy.